So, hello everyone, a very good morning. Welcome to Vishnu's IS Academy. Okay, so I got to know from sir that here we have a mix of students. Some, of course, are preparing for the very first time, and then some of you have written your prelims. So, you are quite senior in the sense that you have more idea about the paper, and now you're gearing up for the mains exam. Of course, the time is rather limited, and the fact that I'm here to take your essay classes because you know the importance of essay, 250 marks paper, and since the last 5 years, we also know that the essay paper is becoming more and more abstract. So for those who study very well for the GS, for those who know their concepts very well, even they are struggling to write these essays because they are very abstract, very philosophical, and therefore this is a deadly combination what I'm dealing with. Because on the one hand, I'm talking about philosophy essays, and on the other hand, I'm taking your ethics classes. You will notice that a majority of topics in the ethics are matching exactly with the topics that you get in philosophy essays. So it's a good thing, okay? Because as you take up one of these subjects, you also then end up preparing for the other. And on that note, I welcome you once again. We shall be taking these lectures for about, say, 8 to 9 days. And what's my target? Then later we'll talk about your target. So my target would be to make sure that by the end of these lectures, not only can you write essays on philosophy topics independently, okay, you will be able to write in case you are not confident of writing right now. And with regards to the essay ethics paper, last time I had come and discussed case studies. But this time we realized that even before we start doing ethics case studies, it's important to know the basic ethics concepts because you need to use them in practical case studies. So that's what I'll take up in the second half of the day. Okay, so for now we are talking about the essay paper. As I said, let me quickly first make you understand the structure of the paper, of course, for the newcomers and those who are writing the mains. This lecture exclusively, rather this lecture series exclusively is going to deal more with philosophy essays. But definitely I will talk about the do's and don'ts of your issue-based essays too. If there's anyone who wants any specific topic to be discussed, please feel free, please interact because today a teacher, a mentor, since the last 8 years, I've been dealing with so many students like these. We have seen success stories, we have seen perseverance, hard work, but just before that, I was also sitting in one of these seats and listening to the lecture, and everybody sleeps. Most of the people end up sleeping when it comes to essay and ethics. I don't know why, but they do. So that's why please keep the lecture interactive, talk, because it is very exciting, it's very reality-based, it's very rooted in current affairs. So in case anybody feels sleepy, of course you'll have your water, but you can also raise your hand. I'll make sure you don't sleep, okay? Sleeping is not allowed. Okay, having said that, let me quickly take you to the broad structure of the essay paper. And now for those who are writing the mains, in case you are still confused about what do I write in this abstract topic? Mathematics is the music of reason? What kind of a topic is that? Maths already is poor for me, plus music also I don't know. How do I write an essay? These are normal queries. Similarly, joy is the simplest form of gratitude. I know that, but how can I write 1,000 words on this? These are normal questions. They bother everybody, especially those who are now in the process of preparing for the mains, but that will happen. I assure you, you will love essay writing. You will love to write these essays. What is 1,000 words? You will love to write even 2,000 words. When I start the lecture, most of the people tell me that, ma'am, it's impossible to write 1,000 words on my own. In the last day of the lecture, when I see the drafts, they are saying I can't control. It's going beyond 1,500, 2,000 words. How to stop myself? Suddenly I am becoming this Aryabhatta of writing. Shakespeare has come inside me, some Atma. I'm just writing. So that's because everybody knows everything. We all have ideas. We all have imagination. There is a fear of picking up the pen. Once that goes away, you find that inner self, you will write, trust me. But to reach to that point, let's quickly see some of the protocols, some of the rules, some of the strategies that I'm here with. Okay? Sure? Yes. Somebody already sleepy? No. Okay. Wonderful. So talking about the structure of the UPSC essay paper, a critical paper of the UPSC mains because it carries 250 marks. The weightage is heavy, okay? Which means essay can be a make or break. There are people who are safely getting above 180 marks. There are those who are struggling to get even 100. Why? What's the difference? Vocabulary? You think you need a very good vocabulary to write an essay? No. You think you should have a very good command over English to write an essay? No. There is just one thing. The process of being imaginative, mentally free, and the process of being creative. You have to let your inner child come out, just like children, the way they express everything honestly. They do not think twice. If you ask them, am I looking good today? If they don't like it, they'll say, no, you're looking horrible. They don't bother, they don't do second thinking. They'll be very honest. So that's exactly what you have to be. Let the inner child come out and you see how much you will enjoy essay writing. And 100% it's possible to get more than 180. It's not a dream, it's a reality. And we have to achieve that reality anyhow. Okay, so for this 250 marks paper, the paper is divided into two broad segments. Segment A, segment B. Okay, each of these segments contains 4 topics. So in total, how many topics will you have? 8 topics, absolutely. Okay, so for the 250 marks, you will have to write any 2 out of 8 topics. This is quite a big choice. It's a buffet of topics. 8 topics is a lot of topics. Segment A, you will have 4 topics, for example. Segment B, 4 topics again. What do I have to do now? I need to write total 2 essays by taking 1 topic from segment A and 1 topic from segment B, such that each topic here carries 125 marks. Total 2, of course 250. So therefore, each essay topic here will carry 125 marks. But then if you have to write an essay that is 125 marks, how many words are you supposed to write for a 125 marks essay? Does anybody know how many words are we supposed to write? 1,000 or 1,200? 1,000 to 1,200 words. Okay, so for every 125 marks essay, I can write anything between 1,000 to 1,200 words. But does that mean I cannot write less than 1,000? We can write. It's a very flexible word limit. So we have to strictly observe the upper word limit. We cannot exceed 1,200 words, but below 1,200, easily we can write 850 words and above. It's absolutely okay. There is no hard and fast rule, okay? So when I say 125 marks, your essay should be about 850 words to 1,200 words. Any of this is fine. They don't count your words and give you marks for that. They give you marks on whether you have completed, on whether you have written something that is innovative, or you have understood the topic. That's what you get marks for. So don't worry about the lower word limit. It is not like 2,400 total I have to write. Not like that. Even 850 in both the essays is actually quite a good word limit. Having said that, this essay should be written. Say both of them need to be completed within 3 hours. So does that mean just like a movie of Bollywood, I have to keep writing for 3 hours? I start at 10 and I finish at 1. I'm writing. No. When it comes to actual writing, you don't have to spend more than 1 hour total in the writing process. What do you do in the remaining time? Look at others. Think. You have to do a lot of rough work. So please understand, in the essay paper, 80% of the job, 80% of the task is to finish rough work. It's only 20% that comes into finalizing your draft. Because without rough work, those who begin writing just by looking at the topic, they are generally the ones who get confused in the middle. They want to change the topic, or their essay looks very artificial. Looks like you studied something and now you want to repeat it. It's like ChatGPT. We don't want more ChatGPTs. We are already frustrated of ChatGPTs and Geminis. So examiners do not want to see that kind of content. That, okay, Wikipedia content, this person is a living, talking Wikipedia. One Wikipedia, one ChatGPT, no, we don't want that. We want humans. There is something called emotional intelligence. You will learn that in ethics, which means how much can you relate to an unknown thing on an emotional level, not like a robot. So you get marks for your innovation, for your human element, for your emotional intelligence. After reading an essay, I should feel like I have spoken to a person, or I have understood the ideas of a new person, new idea. Okay, a very small example could be, suddenly what happens? Suddenly what happens if earthquake comes here? I'm not cursing or anything, I'm just telling. What if it does? Anything can happen nowadays. It's the time of global warming. So what if suddenly everything starts shaking? See, everybody has a different reaction. Maybe we have about 40 people here. Some will immediately run away. Some will take their notebook and run away. What if I'm alive but I have to pass exam also? Some will leave everything and go to hell UPSC. I'm there, everything is there, run. Some will say, look at this poor lady also. She has come all the way from Bangalore. Let's save her. Some will say, okay, let it be. Many teachers will be there. I'm only one. Run. Some will, so everybody has a very different reaction. Some take the phone, call the family. Some are like, I'm still single. Go to hell, girlfriend, boyfriend. Bye. They will find somebody else. Everybody, I'm telling you, for every problem, if there are 1,000 people, there are 1,000 solutions. Something as basic as current affairs. Now, yesterday that Air India accident happened. What a shocking episode. Everybody knew reaction. Some are saying Turkey has done. Some are saying 100% US. Some are saying, no, that's sheepy, China. They are responsible. Some are saying Air India's carelessness. Some are saying bad luck. Black magic also, some people have gone to the extent of saying. Rather than black box, black magic has come in picture now. So all these are what? These are all human reactions, Problem can be the same, but reactions are multiple. This is exactly what the essay paper is all about. Yes, the topics are similar for all the aspirants. But you see, a valid essay is one which gives a unique perspective on the same problem, because I don't believe no two people can have exactly same idea about the same thing. They cannot have, okay? They can never ever have. So that's exactly what you are judged on. So please, if anybody has told you so far that quotations should be learnt by heart, without quotation, without data, you don't get marks, it's nonsense. It doesn't happen like that. If somebody has told you that unless you use big, good, difficult words, nice vocabulary, Shashi Tharoor types, only then you will get marks. No, it doesn't happen like that either. If somebody says, no, your grammatical structure, sentence formation has to be perfect, spot on. No, that is again not true. It's a myth. And then if somebody says, just you study GS 1, 2, 3, everything is covered from environment to politics, just write the same thing here, point by point, you will get marks. No, you will not. Because they are not here to judge your knowledge. For judging your knowledge, prelims is there. GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, interview, what are they doing? They're just judging you only. They're very judgmental, man. They keep judging. Why should they give a 250 marks paper to judge your knowledge? How can anybody be so silly? They won't do that, right? So why do they even have this paper? Let's come to that. But before that, have you understood the structure? 3 hours only, 850 to 1200 words, easy flexibility available, not more than 1200, but anything 850 and above, absolutely okay. How many topics? 8 topics given to you. How many should you write? 2. Some people say, why do they divide in section A and section B? Is it like section B is more tough, section A is easy? Or is it like section A is static, section B is dynamic? Nothing like that. It's just a way of formatting the paper. You can have any kind of topic in section A, any kind of topic in section B. But yes, there is one thing we should know, that after 2017, one change has come, massive change has come. What is that change? Before 2017, if you see the PYQ, majority topics were static. Women empowerment, primary education, primary healthcare, global warming, artificial intelligence, nuclear warfare, absolutely. They could talk about your deforestation, urbanization, global diplomacy of India. Anything else? Globalization, yes, cultural globalization, economic globalization, anything. But exactly taken from GS paper 1, 2, 3 or current affairs. Static. I know the definition. I know the data. Done. But 2017 onwards, things are changing. Okay. Now, as you are saying very rightly, the topics are becoming day by day, year after another, too abstract, too philosophical, too much based on emotional intelligence. You don't even sometimes understand what is this topic all about. They are so abstract. Okay? As I said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, right? You cannot cross the same river, you cannot step into the same flowing river twice, right? Mathematics is the music of reason. Do something now. Become Aryabhat, right? Or they may say, like as I said, joy is the simplest form of gratitude. Okay, all these topics, honesty is one domain, generosity, love for humankind, courage, any emotion that we feel in the real life will be there on the paper. Sudden change. And now after 2017 onwards, out of total 8 topics, if you are noticing, at least 6 are based on abstract. Complete philosophy. So for those who were remembering topics and preparing, what about them? Now they are feeling lost. What should I do? And therefore, 90% of students whom I have mentored in these years, they all prefer issue-based topic. If issue-based topic comes, they are very happy. Ma'am, out of 8, 1 was on women empowerment. I have done it. Nailed it. GS paper 2, Janani Suraksha, Matritva Yojana, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, all knowledge is there. Rich essay. Similarly, if climate comes, they are very happy. UNFCCC, Kyoto, this, that, keep filling, fill the page, I am prepared. But what to do, that is rare now. They are leaving behind philosophy and I feel very bad. You know why? Because once you take this class, you will be the first one to choose philosophy. You will say, go to hell, issue based. I'm not that now. I'm evolved. You will write on philosophy 100%. Not only will you love, you will write on philosophy. Why? Because it's 40% easier to write on philosophy. Do you agree? Not yet. How can we believe you? UPSC aspirant man. I'm like that only or what? Yes, you should only believe when you see something empirical. So let me show you why is philosophy easy. And let me promise you that by the end of these lectures, 100% you will love philosophy. And what if that doesn't happen? I'll run away to Bangalore, sir, we'll see. 100% you will love philosophy. Chalo, having said that, having seen the broad basics of the structure of the essay paper, I think now everybody knows that total is 250 mark. Everybody knows 2 essays, they have to write 125 marks each. Word limit also is very clear to us. Time limit is clear to us. One more thing we have understood, rough work is mandatory. Without rough work, no essay can be written. The paper is divided into section A, section B, 4 topics here, 4 topics there. 90% topics philosophy abstract, like we talked about, and barely 10% now will be based on issue. So this is exactly how your paper looks like. I think you must have seen earlier also that, as I said, section A here, section B here. Okay, you write any of 2 essays. Choose one from here, choose one from here. See how philosophical they are. The time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. Just because you have a choice doesn't mean any of them has to be right. Philosophy. A smile is a chosen vehicle for all ambiguities. Philosophy. A ship is safe in the harbor, but that is not what it is meant for. Philosophy. Forests are the best case studies for economic excellence. Almost philosophy, not completely. Poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Now, where is a topic hidden here? Come show me. Can anybody find a direct topic here? Yes, can you? No. That is exactly what is happening. Imagine if you were writing this paper, what would you do? You are saying, yet I don't believe you, philosophy is not that good also, stop branding philosophy. Then what would you do? Imagine if you were here. What will you choose? Time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. And what will you write? 800 words here? What gyan will you give in this? How much can anybody do? So that is why I am here, that you will be able to give gyan in future. There is a reason I have been called for this purpose only. So first, before I start with the rules, methods, everything, let's very clearly set the targets for our lectures. See, time is precious, okay, especially for you because your exam is coming. For me, less precious because my exam is not coming. But still, it's precious, okay? So let's clear the targets. Why are the lectures happening? And before that, I'm sorry, as always, I forgot to address my online students. Love you all. Welcome to the class. If there's any problem with audio, video, please let me know. I'm sorry, I have to do this in the beginning, but it skips. Okay. So having said that, what are the clear-cut targets till 21st June? 1. Many people say they think but they cannot write. Especially 800 words, I cannot write. That's the normal belief. So 1, you will write. Plus 1000 words. For each topic that you see. Philosophy or topic based. That's one target. Second target. Because every time when you get a new topic, it is difficult to start thinking. How to make introduction. What to write in the body. Where to put data, how many quotations should I write, how to end, how to make it interesting. Okay, that is also done. Then, should I start with normal definition or give my own definition? How many pages, back, front, how many pages like that I should do? When to change para, how to change para, should I give subheadings? All these are normal questions. Yeah or no? Or you have some unique questions only. Tell me, what are those? If anybody has any next level alien-like questions, then that also you tell me. But normally that is what I have observed. These are the problems. How to start changing para? Should I underline? Will he be able to see now? Pakka, what I have written? He'll see now. He will not skip. No. Special quotation I have written on you and how to highlight, Should I underline? Should I use color pen? These questions come. They are very real. Okay. So another target would be to stop these problems from happening. Let's give you the confidence tablet that no matter which topic comes, I can write. And how will that come? A small example let me give you. How many of you have bank accounts? Bank accounts? I think everybody has. I recently got one. Everybody has? Suppose now everything is online. But just few years back in a parents' generation or older siblings' generation, we had to go to the bank actually. Now, so he will come to your house only. But yeah, you have to go to bank. What happens in a bank? Or what happens if you take somebody to a hospital? Or what happens, suppose, for example, if you take admission in a new college, there is a process of filling the form. Name, gender, even UPSC form. You must have filled it. Name, gender, this, that, so many questions. Do you think for 2 hours what to write? Oh, name, what to write? My name, okay. Address, that is a problem. Oh, category also. Date, what is date? What is date? How many attempts? I don't know. Does that happen? 2 hours you take to fill the form? Bank form, hospital form, UPSC form. You take time? Why?
We already know.
How do you know? How? Come on, answer me. How do you know? Sorry? No, but why?
I've been writing it since years.
Okay, so blindly also you can write.
We know what to write.
How?
From childhood we are...
Childhood bank form.
we can know one.
But still, how do you know where to write the name? First or second? Where to write address first or second? What is there in that? What do you...
They'll guide, they'll instruct what to write.
How do the instructions come? In the process, step by step? Where you are writing name? Randomly anywhere. I want to write here. No, you will see the column then write. I want to write. Is it difficult? Do you think? Are you scared? Then why are you scared for essay? What if I give you a form? What if I give you a ready-made form for philosophy essay 1, for issue-based essay 1? Now your only duty is to select the topic and fill up that form. And what if I guarantee that if you fill up this form properly, then you will write 1000 words also, you will get above 180 also, and you will enjoy writing also. Then, will that make your life easy? Will that make your life easy? No, my life is ruined forever. Is that the sentiment? I'm devastated. Nothing can make any difference now. Not like that, right? That much negativity is not there in the class, right? Sure? If I give you the form, you will write? Will that be difficult for you? Then can you find it easy to write essays? Let's do that. So my approach here will be to give you 2 forms, 2 templates just like bank and UPSC form. One for issue-based topic, other for philosophy-based topic. Why? Because most people tell you an essay should be in the form of introduction, body, conclusion, but still it is difficult to understand what to come next, what to write next. But I will not teach like that. I will give you introduction, body, conclusion, structure. In that, I will give you a detailed form. Future. From future onwards, pick any topic that you want to choose. Slowly, you will realize that philosophy is more easy. Pick any topic. For example, I picked this. Time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. Now my duty will be to just, because I will have to learn that form, I will go to rough work, I will write that form, fill up that form, essay ready. Can you believe? Very skeptical class. Not yet. Can you believe? No? No? Not at all. Zero belief. Are you willing to believe if I show? That is important. I thought, no, you are saying no matter what you do, hang upside down also, I am not willing. That is a problem. Okay. Okay, I will show you both these forms and then life will become very easy. Okay, that's my target for all these days. You will love philosophy, you will write 1000 words because I'm giving you a ready-made template. Fill it up and enjoy life. That's it. Now, having said that, there are some rules you need to remember. Let me quickly guide you through those rules and then we will take topics and I will slowly, step by step teach you that format. Ready? Anybody already bored, sleepy? Sure? People at the back? Must? Good. So, talking about essay writing, even before I teach you the rules or give you the form, we should know what is an essay all about. We should know what is an essay. Most people say essay is like, I am writing everything I know about the topic. Some people say essay means to write the topic correctly. Some people say essay means whatever information you have, you write it in a structured form. All these are very age-old, conventional, ChatGPT type definitions. Nonsense they are. I want to know from you what is essay writing. As a human, you have to answer. I don't want that quickly Wikipedia. Oh, essay is a structured form of writing based on the topic in which the author or the writer is expressing all that he or she knows about the topic. Wow. Nonsense. I don't want that. Let's be very original. What is essay? Anybody wants to comment? What is essay?
It is an individual perspective to express some her feelings.
Very good, absolutely. Very individual perspective to express your feelings about a topic. That's a good one. Anybody else? Essay. What is an essay? What is an essay? You don't have to be right, okay? You just have to be original. What is an essay? Anybody else? What am I supposed to do in this exam? Dance. What is an essay? Something you'll do. What is essay? Opinion. Okay, that's a good one again. Opinion. My individual opinion is an essay. Nobody can challenge that. Correct. Anybody else?
It may be reflective or augmentative type of.
Okay, interesting. It can be argumentative. I can argue. I can reflect my views about the topic. Yes, essays can be descriptive. Essays can be narrative. Essays can be expository. N number of essays. But what is an essay in a simple way? Anybody else here at the back? What is essay? Now don't say what you are teaching. That I don't want. What is essay?
A comprehension of the writer's views in an orderly manner.
In an orderly manner. Okay, views is the main important word is view. Okay, let's say if I today give so many people a simple topic, a very basic topic, write something about rainfall, monsoon in India. You see, 1,000 people might be there, but look how an essay should be. Somebody will say, flooding happens, traffic is there and it is difficult because urban flooding has started happening. Somebody will say the smell of rain, it's called petticore, technical word for it. I love the smell of rain, samosa, tea. Somebody will say date, outing with my girlfriend or boyfriend. Not bad. Somebody will say sleeping for 8 hours, because it makes you lazy. Somebody will say peacock dancing, or somebody will say puddles on the road. Somebody will directly become very NCRT oriented, that UPSC Atma will come. Southwest monsoon, Northeast monsoon, retreating monsoon, Tamil Nadu getting winter monsoon, Karnataka getting cherry blossom and all of that. Some people will say monsoon deficit, rainfall is not enough because Aravali crosses parallel. All of those things. Different people, different views, right? Somebody will go on to say that monsoon maximum Indo-Gangetic plain, that's why it's fertile. Somebody might say that no, La Nina, El Nino, that also comes in the picture. Then somebody will say seasonal reversal of winds, Mausam, what all. Everybody has a different view. Some may talk about childhood. When I was a child, I used to make paper boats and float them in the water. What a beautiful experience. That is how I correlate with rain. It's okay, I can. Some people will say cold weather, or some people might just say rainy day. School used to be closed. It used to be a lot of fun. You see how humans are different in terms of their thinking. Some think very scientifically, very linear thinking. Some will be very imaginative. Some are able to be very honest about what they feel. It could be something as stupid as eating chai and pakoras, but they will be honest about what they like. And some people will just talk about, very technically urban problems, urban flooding and this, that, whatnot. But that is only an essay actually at the end of the day. Anything that you express yourself very honestly towards, it's supposed to be an essay. Therefore, one thing is true, that an essay can never be wrong. While your GS paper 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 answers can be wrong or right, but an essay can never be wrong. A good and experienced mentor or a teacher will never say that this essay is wrong. An essay can never be wrong. You always have the freedom. So in short, if you were to ask me what is an essay, my reply would be freedom. I think the only piece of writing, the only piece of academia where you get complete freedom to express exactly what you feel with regards to the topic that's in front of you. And believe me, it is actually freedom. Now, this is coming from a teacher who's been a mentor of CSAT for all these years. It sounds very strange because when I teach CSAT comprehension, I'm the one who shouts and says, don't think, don't imagine, don't be creative, stay focused on the passage, no emotions to be involved. No, it's a crime to use your emotions here. Yes, I say that. But when it comes to essay and when it comes to ethics, I'm saying exactly the opposite. If there is any humanity left in you after years of preparation, 1% also, this is the time to bring it out. Please let it live. Let the inner child live. Dream, imagine, be creative, be innovative, be honest. No examiner has a problem with you writing an essay on child labor and talking about you seeing a construction site and giving food to a child labor. They will love it. Srishti Deshmukh, if you remember, UPSC topper, her essay on child labor was about a poem. If you've read that poem, anybody has, I'll get it for you in one of these classes. She had written a poem on her own because she had that inclination of poetry. Not like you have to write, but I'm just saying everybody has a different take. She wrote an imaginative poem on child labor and look at the grades, look at the marks that she got. They were wonderful. Similar is true for all the UPSC toppers. When they talk about essay, they admit openly that yes, I have not learnt any topic. I just felt associated to that topic. So if your GS paper 1, 2, 3 and CSAT is about mind, essay and ethics is completely about heart. Trust me. You have to use your heart. I'm never saying use your brain. No, use your heart. Be imaginative. Let the inner child shout. Be creative. Be honest. Be very, very honest. Some people think if I write honestly, examiner will judge me. If I choose easy topic, examiner will judge me. No, he's not there to judge you. He will never judge you. She will never judge you. They will just give you marks for your originality and your expression. That's it. On that note, if I say that, of course, UPSC has certain protocols. UPSC says essay should be written in the same language, which is your medium. Yes, of course. So I'm supposing everybody is writing in English. So yeah, you will have to write it in English, both the essays. Second thing is no marks will be given for answers written in a medium. Yeah, of course, these are UPSC rules. Suppose if you are writing in an English medium and suddenly essay is in Sanskrit, what happens? 0. You have to follow your medium. Word limit must be followed. As I said, word limit always means upper word limit. 1200 is to be followed. The lower word limit is always flexible for all UPSC papers, by the way. Then, okay, this is a standard rule. If you're leaving a page in the middle, so just omit that page so that there is no confusion. We already discussed what is essay writing, but a bigger question. Why is essay paper given 250 marks? Just now we were discussing that essay also talks about what do you know about a topic, what do you want to express about a topic, but already you have polity, economy and geography and history, everything. Then why do you need a 250 marks just for essay? That's one question I want to ask. Second question I want to ask, I told you clearly that 2017 onwards, all essays are philosophy based. Any reason behind this? Anybody knows why? They wanted to, that's why they did know. There must be a reason. What is that reason? Anybody wants to answer? Any reason? Any particular reason? Why after 2017 most of the essays are about philosophy and not topic based? Would anybody want to answer? You should answer. You have to answer. Come on, it's a class, man. I'm asking you want to answer like no. You have to answer. Why do we have philosophy based essay more after 2017? Just try. Something you must have thought. What did you think? Because they wanted to? In last class, one of my students said because they want to make paper more tough. I said, okay, that was too honest. Anybody else?
Rather than just checking the intelligent quotient, they want to check our emotional quotient.
Beautiful, absolutely valid point. Anybody else? Sorry, sir? Filtration. Filtration of your thoughts? Oh, yeah, exactly what he said in another words. In a more beautiful word, you are rephrasing that. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, because we need to select people who are displaying emotional intelligence and we don't want to keep robots in civil services. Okay, interesting. Anybody else? Almost what you said. I think both of you have a correct viewpoint in a different way, of course. The reason why suddenly there was a change of pattern in UPSC, which a lot of people perceived as, yeah, filtration, or they want to make the process more challenging for people. The real reason was like before 2017, if you notice the papers, as I said, out of, if total you get 8 topics, around 5 to 6 topics used to be issue-based topics. Issue-based topics, as we discussed, anything, population, gender, climate, nuclear warfare, AI, everything. Very issue-based they used to be. But it was not solving any purpose for the UPSC. Why was it not solving a purpose? As she just said, the examiners realized after certain research was done in UPSC through a committee that people are not being honest at all. We are just seeing a replica of GS paper 1, 2 and 3. Same definitions, same point-wise answer writing, same data, same quotations. It was a waste of time for the examiners as well as the aspirants because everything you are doing in 1, 2 and 3 GS, you are repeating here in this paper. You've already dealt with gender and gender programs in GS paper 2, and if you get an essay topic like that, you will write the same thing and come. If in GS paper 3 you've studied about agriculture problems or climate change, you get a similar topic, you are doing the same thing. People are being extremely dishonest about their inner self. They are not ready to, if a question would come, in 2021 there was a topic, is fulfillment of new woman in India a myth? Which means, are women empowered today or not? Nobody has the guts to say that I strongly feel they are not empowered. And then I will support my point. Most people will say both. They are not. Because for some reason we have been endorsed. We have been trained to believe that essay should be neutral. A lot of people say essay means balanced attitude. Don't write extreme of anything. Be both yes, no. Is that even an honest reply? Are you feeling hot? Yes, no. Are you feeling cold? Yes, no. Are you feeling sleepy? Yes, no. That's nonsense. What kind of a reality and what kind of clarity am I getting after getting this response? This is not essay at all. In interview, you can't do that. If they ask you, do you feel that today the biggest challenge that confronts India is to actually fulfill the economic gap? You will say yes, no. No, yes, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, both. So they will say, no, you are not suitable for this, because what future work will you do? What challenges will you face when you don't know to take a stand on your own? Because you are depending on a very balanced approach, diplomacy. Diplomacy is good somewhere, but not an essay paper for sure. You cannot be a diplomat here. You have to support one thing. If I believe women are empowered, yes, they are. I will support my point. If I think they are not, I should support my point. They are not. How can I think both? Is it even possible? Are you tired? Yes, no. You like essay paper? Yes, no. That way, humans and robots are not even different from each other. Come on. So that is why the purpose of UPSC failed altogether. Because somebody from somewhere, some YouTube channel, I don't know who has taught this nonsense, that balanced is important. Write both, positive and negative. You are not a child anymore. We are not doing a geography answer that monsoons pros, monsoons cons. Okay, Indian agriculture, yes, we are doing good also. No, we are doing bad also. That we don't want here. Essay is a test of an individual, a future officer's personality, just like case study. If you ask me honestly, there is no much difference today in 2025 between ethics case study and philosophy essay. Something same is being expected. There in the case study, you are solving a problem by using ethics concept, morality, logic, reasoning. Here also you are seeing a topic and honestly telling what I feel about this topic. You can be agreeing with the topic, you absolutely can disagree with the topic. You have all the freedom. When UPSC realized that this is not happening and repeatedly people are just writing like robots, it was decided that either we will completely remove the essay paper, that was also a recommendation of the committee, and there was one more recommendation, make it abstract. Make it problem based. Make it case study based. All these topics here are case studies. Trust me, they are not topics. They are case studies. They give you a situation, not a topic. You cannot learn an essay and go in the exam. You can just practice writing. You cannot learn topics and go. It's a myth. You cannot do that. What you need to do is learn a few things. How to be honest, how to be courageous, to agree or to disagree. And then with valid points, support your answer. That is what philosophy essay is all about. And to know your honest personality, because they cannot call you, they cannot WhatsApp you, they cannot see you. This is the only way they will judge your personality before the interview. So that's why they have chosen to give you philosophy abstract topics, so that they know who you are. What potential do you have to take a stand on a topic? Is that clear? Is that clear? No? Nothing is clear? Everything is clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. So that is what an essay is all about. Technically talking, essay has been coming from a word exegeum, which means to present any topic, plus to present any topic in any way I like. Essay is the only place in UPSC exam apart from interview where I can enjoy complete freedom. There is no right, there is no wrong. There is no data, there can be data. There cannot be a definition. If you like, there can be a definition. You can write poem, story, fiction, movie, horror, comic, reality, anything. Purpose, to be honest, creative, to entertain the reader and to prove that you have a feeling towards this topic, you are not a robot. Very often I have noticed when we check into websites, they ask you CAPTCHA, prove I am not a robot. Have you seen that?
Yes.
That is only essay paper. If you are writing this paper, this is only the point. Proof, I am not a robot. I can write like a human, I can feel like a human, and all of us feel. Just that we don't write. So, I have the capacity to honestly write what I feel. That's called a successful essay, and 180 plus marks assured, guaranteed from my side. 100% that is going to be possible. Now, therefore, as we say, essay is that literary device when you have the freedom to say almost everything about almost anything. There is no hard and fast rule here, except a few rules, but that also means you can write anything in a structured format. So quickly, let's see the rules of essay writing before we start seeing the format, the promise that I have given you. I'll give you a form, you fill that up. Okay. One thing is, candidate is required to write essays on diverse range of topics. When we talk about how do I prepare for this exam? Okay, I understood that I have to be courageous, I have to use my innovation, I have to use my human intelligence, I am not a robot, all that is clear now. But how do I prepare for the paper? one thing is those who diligently follow current affairs, they handle the essay paper very well, because most of these situations are generally in and around current affairs only. For example, today we are talking about this big debate in India. Census is coming in 2027. Everybody is busy talking about delimitation. South Indian states are unhappy because the delimitation they feel is based on population and they are reducing their fertility rate. They are concerned. Valid point. You can get an essay topic, definitely, which talks about ethics, which talks about the ethical considerations that are that exist behind using government policies to bring out economic social change. Is it okay to force people to take up a policy? Is it okay to just let them choose what is good for them, what's bad for them? This delimitation debate is also very close to the debate on data privacy. You know that this census is going to happen digitally. So everyone is saying, what about data privacy? So therefore, a very good question can come. Digital census, is that even ethical? Because it completely exposes people to leakage of data. There is no more privacy of my data. Right to information is again coming into picture. All these are current affairs. So those who know current affairs, who follow not just the headlines. One approach is, I see the paper, I see the headlines, my work is done. Nowadays, UPSC doesn't demand that kind of a preparation. The reason why we have started the Hindu analysis every day, in case anybody has noticed, reason is that only. No, we are not expected to give you headlines. Census is coming 2027, bye. Tomorrow I will again come. Delimitation will happen on population, tata. Again I come. Okay, now another good thing is Air India plane has crashed, bye. Tomorrow again I will come. What is this? This is not even, just giving you headlines is not enough. So we need to see the ethical debate behind each of these. Yes, census is coming, but what are these ethical debates? Population is one, data privacy is one, gender gap is one, so many. That is UPSC preparation today. That only helps you develop a perspective on various topics. So therefore, if you want to practice on diverse topics, be spot on, be well prepared for your current affairs. Second thing is, yes, you can be imaginative. Yes, you can be innovative. You can be honest. You can write stories. But please always remember in mind that just like your earth rotates, it does revolution also. But does it mean it goes away? It has a breakup with its own axis? It doesn't say by axis, I'm finding another one. That is not happening. So similarly, your topic is like your axis. Stray, right, enjoy, express. But please make sure the topic is your axis. So stray, but do not get too lost. For example, I start writing about artificial intelligence and its dangers. I write for some time and then I completely forget what I was writing, and then I begin writing about supercomputer, space, NASA, SpaceX, Elon Musk, everything I write. No, not like that. My main axis has to be my topic. I have to kind of, in every paragraph, as I proceed, I have to once go back and remember, okay, this is my main topic. So I have to be close to my topic. Another thing is, original expression and effective expression gives you marks in this UPSC paper. You already know what is original. I am not a robot approach. Emotions, innovation. What is effective? Effective means there is a way you present your thoughts. For example, today if I ask anybody that, what is your opinion? What's your opinion about, say, let's talk about the increasing traffic problem in Hyderabad. Just to travel for 2 kilometers, people have to stop 20 times. What is this? What kind of urbanization are we heading towards? If I ask you this question, and if I say, please say 5 lines about this. Now, you can't just start saying that in other cities also the same problem is coming. It's not like Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, everywhere same problem is there. Yes, in Hyderabad also there is traffic problem. Then you might say, it is because there is too much population, road expansion has not been done. You are right only. But as a reader, I am not able to understand exactly what are you trying to say. Yes, you are original. Very good. I will give you marks. But still something is missing. What is that? The structure is overlapping. It is not good. You are expected to start and finish in a certain systematic format. Although you have freedom to write, but please remember, every essay should be technically divided into 3 broad segments, which we call as introduction, body, and conclusion. And there is a protocol. Yes, we do agree that the body has to be the longest segment of this essay. That is a mandate. That is a protocol. Shortest segment has to be your conclusion. Some people I have noticed are writing paragraphs and paragraphs of conclusion. It is not their fault, because maybe they don't know how to exactly close the argument. How should I suddenly stop? Is it looking very odd, abrupt? So that is something we need to learn. The first sentence of the conclusion, last sentence of the conclusion. Please remember that it is always about 1/4 of your introduction. It's very short in length, very precise. Then introduction is something that comes in between. Yes, it is a very important part of the essay, but introduction is also that part of the essay where you play upon the imagination of your reader. So therefore, I typically call my introduction a hook part of the essay. Just like with a hook, you catch things. Through introduction, you are able to catch the attention of your reader. If I was to write in a systematic way the same thing, traffic problem in Hyderabad, the perfect way would be that Hyderabad, say for example the size of Hyderabad, and then it is experiencing of late a sudden expansion, a sudden boom in its traffic situation, owing to there is a lot of migration because of the IT sector. Of course, road expansion is something that's still pending, too much vehicles, too much vehicular pollution, all that, and then maybe I can introduce the causes behind it, what is the impact, and then I can in one line mention, okay, other cities are also facing like Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, but I can't start with that. There has to be a flow. A flow is important. That is called systematic. So two things. One, write originally, write creative, write interesting, write like a human. Be human, Salman Khan. Be human. Be human. I'm not promoting that. I'm telling. Be human. Second thing is, write that originality in an effective way, in a proper format. Please don't start writing with body generally, coming to intro, coming to conclusion. No. Even if it's good, examiner won't be able to understand because it is expected at this level that I will follow IBC format. One more thing to remember. There is an ongoing debate in the last few years. One of the toppers had made a statement that I wrote my essay in points. You can also write because I got selected. But it's still debatable. We should not write our essay in points. It is not advised to write pointers in an essay that 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D or bullet points. No, it is not a GS answer. We will keep it paragraph wise, we will keep it in a flowy paragraph. Subheadings can be written, but points should not be written. Now, another thing is that quotations. For example, United Nations, World Health Organization, Niti Aayog, Mahatma Gandhi, any contemporary leader also, you can write their quotation. It's good because it further adds more juice, more interesting element to your essay. It proves your point, but it's not mandatory. Statistics. Suppose if I'm writing an essay about environmental problem, or if I'm writing an essay in general about courage and strength, and I want to write, for example, a statistics here, a data here, that there are so many migrants today who are suffering, who are trying to escape from North Africa and enter Europe. In the process, they suffer, they die. It's a dehumanizing experience. But still in 2024, we had about 1.8 million people who did this journey and who reached from Africa to Europe. I have a data, I can write it, definitely. I have a quotation maybe from Mahatma Gandhi, I can write it. But what if I don't remember last moment? Human brain, it happens. It can happen. Some things we remember always, like movie songs, like interesting stories of TV serials and movies, but some things we don't remember, especially studies we never remember. It happens. That betrayal your brain do. It does. With me also it happens. I was writing my PhD exams day before yesterday, in fact. Very nicely I had prepared the para. In the exam, everything blank. One word also didn't come. Happens, what to do. In that case, nothing to worry. Don't write. Quotation, statistic, news events, current affairs are good, but they are just good to substantiate your viewpoint. If I already have a viewpoint, I can just prove it more. Substantiate, give evidence to these three things. But what if it's not there? It's okay. It's completely okay to have an essay without quotation, without data, without news, because nobody gives you extra marks for that. Please trust me. No examiner in UPSC panel will give extra marks for writing these. No. These are just to substantiate. They are not doing anything else. They are not giving any originality. Marks will come for originality only. This is just an add-on to for your own support system. Nobody will give extra marks for that. So nothing to worry here. Okay? Is that clear? Having said that, there are two types of topics in the UPSC essay paper. We have already discussed. Let's have a closer view. One, which will be asked only about 20% of times. Nowadays, rarely they ask you, but still sometimes out of 8, maybe 1 or 2 topics can be based on this, and this is known as issue-based topic. What is an issue-based topic? We have seen already. Indian economy, agriculture problems, urbanization, informal sector problems, gender problems, climate problems, AI and its use, primary education, primary health, rural economy to anything. You name it. Every subject under the sun. Anything that's there in the newspaper. Generally, I have noticed it's based on current affairs again. It can be based on India's foreign policy. It can be based on evolving India-US relationship. It can be based on that Trump's debate about migration. The anti-migration, perspective or the policy of the US recently, it can be based on tariff problem. The high increase of US tariffs, corresponding problems in global supply chain, anything that's there in the news in the last 1 year to 6 months can come in an issue-based topic. Now, generally what happens for majority of students, they find it very difficult to write the introduction in an issue-based topic. They are confused how to start. Should I, for example, if I'm writing about climate change, how should I start? Should I start by giving a definition of climate change? Should I start by giving a quotation? Or should I just randomly start by telling that in news recently so-and-so, they are saying that the glaciers are melting in a very fast pace and therefore the island nations are under the threat of submergence and all of that. How do I start? So conclusion also becomes a problem because generally you will notice that in every essay, a conclusion is a reflection of the introduction. Whatever you write in the introduction, just like you see in the mirror and you see an image, similarly, conclusion is an inverted image of the introduction. Whatever you introduce, ultimately you have to close it. You can't leave it open. Just like a surgeon. If he is doing surgery, in between WhatsApp came, will he run away? Stomach is open. That can't be done. Similarly, you also can't open an introduction. I have created a thread. Now bye, I'm going. No, not like that. You have to close that thread. That is only proper essay. A proper essay is circle. He's copying me also. A proper essay is a circle. A circle means you have to end where you started from. So you have to close the thread that you have opened. Okay, very important. And therefore in issue-based topics, it's a challenge to write the intro and write the conclusion. Body is the easiest part of issue-based because you already study so much in 1, 2 and 3 GS, you start writing points. Causes of climate change, 1, 2, 3. Consequences of climate change, 1, 2, 3. Done, happy. So that is issue-based. Technical part is intro and conclusion. But opposite is true for a philosophy-based essay. In a philosophy-based topic, where there is no fixed topic, where you are given abstract situations, in this case, it is very, very easy to write an introduction and a conclusion because in the introduction you can explain the topic, you can define the topic. Conclusion also, there is no hard and fast rule, it's abstract, so you can just relate to the intro and write something. But the real problem is how to write about 600 words in the body of a philosophy-based topic. For most students, that's a challenge. For example, if I'm writing about a simple topic, you cannot step in the same river twice. You do the intro, you do the conclusion. Now, how will you write 600 in the body? How? That is a challenge. 600 is huge. It's a lot. What to write? What all arguments to include? 600 means at least two sides or at least 3 sides of sheets. How will I fill up? Suppose if I'm writing about mathematics is the music of reason, how should I write my body? What to fill here? That becomes a real challenge. There is nothing you get at the time. If you don't have a ready-made format, you really don't know what to write. You keep thinking and time runs out. And that's why people really struggle to write the body. This is also one reason why majority students don't like to write about philosophy. Because they know that intro is easy, but what will I do in the body? And 90% people choose philosophy because they think anything I will write in the intro, somehow I will manage. Body is very easy. Only point by point I can include my knowledge and my task is done. That's the sole reason why you choose issue-based. Apart from that, there is no other distinction. Main thing is just how to structure these. More technically talking, issue-based is completely rooted in GS paper 1 to 3. People say, do we need to prepare separately? No, definitely not. For issue-based topics, whatever you've done in your coursework in these 3 papers, whatever current affairs you've done are sufficient. For GS paper 4, what special preparation do you need? 1, you only need to prepare how to write creatively. You need to prepare how to write with an honest perspective, and you have to use lots of material from GS paper 4. Morals, values, integrity, probity, honesty, conduct, ethical values, all these will give you sufficient material, plus quotations by Mahatma Gandhi, say Rabindranath Tagore or all other Vivekanandji, all these famous thinkers will be included in GS paper 4. Very nicely you can use them here and the essay can be created. And now having said that, Let's quickly once see the kind of issue-based topics that have come. After this, I will give you the ready-made format, which you fill, you get the answer. But the more important task of these lectures is to prepare you for philosophy-based essays, okay? That's something we are really going to practice about step by step. Talking of issue-based essays 2017, fulfillment of new woman in India is a myth. Are you able to understand what the topic is saying? Yeah? I didn't understand that you understood. Did anybody understand the topic? No?
Talking about the women empowerment.
Women empowerment in India? Fulfillment is what? Satisfying something, achieving something. Have we achieved the concept of new Indian woman? What is new Indian woman? They are trying to say indirectly. Now, all topics, the biggest challenge is to decode the topic. Topic is almost like a puzzle. Whether it's philosophy, whether it's issue-based. The first step is to decode the topic. Majority of times, if you start writing without decoding, you will find yourself not being able to move ahead. But if you are able to only decode the topic in simple words, you can understand the topic. Fulfillment of new woman. How do you achieve that concept of a new empowered women? Technically, they are asking that today, if we say that women in India are already empowered, they are in a very strong position. This is a myth. A myth is a false belief. A myth is a lie. A myth is a fake thing. So which means the topic is trying to say, even today, Indian women are not empowered. Even today, Indian women are not strong. They have not been able to achieve this notion of the new woman. So what do you do in that topic? If today also, the new Indian woman does not exist, if she is still not empowered, then your entire essay will have to be talking about why are even today in India women not empowered? Why are they still economically, politically, socially, culturally backward as compared to men? That's the meaning of the topic. Similarly, you look at here, 2020. Patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Again, if you decode the topic, patriarchy, a kind of system in which men hold powerful positions and women hold subordinate positions. Very simple. So if we are talking about patriarchy, it is the least noticed because we are so used to it. We are so accustomed to seeing patriarchy in family and in workplace, in parliament and everywhere, in the workforce also. We don't realize it is there. But yes, it is there. Today also, how many women are there in the parliament? How many Indian women are there in the Indian workforce, formal workforce segment? About 18 to 20%, that's it. How many women have the ownership of agricultural land? Barely any. So that is why we don't notice, but it's true. And it is the most important structure of social inequality among people in India. Let alone other inequalities. The man-woman inequality is the most significant one that exists in the country. So talk about that. Write the causes about that. Write the consequences. That's the topic. Then 2018, poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. Very indirectly, they are saying the same thing. If in your country there is anywhere poverty existing, it is a danger to success, economic growth everywhere. Definitely, it's talking about inequality indirectly. If some people are poor, then how can we say that the country is becoming economically prosperous? Look at India. India, they say that today is the third or the fourth largest economy in the world. And yet you see the inequality that's existing. Yet you see barely 25% in the formal sector, remaining all in the informal sector, which means it is a big threat to our prosperity. We cannot claim that we are a very economically successful country. All these are issue-based topics. They are very direct. You just decode them and start writing. 2018, alternative technologies for a climate resilient India. What does that mean? Alternative technologies? Green energy, nuclear, solar, tidal, hydro, all these are what we need today to make India climate resilient, to fight the problem of climate change, to mitigate global warming. We need to walk away from coal, petrol, conventional sources of energy towards new energy, green energy. That's it. Every day in the newspaper, we have articles about solar energy. We have articles about growing nuclear capacity. That's exactly what we need here. Okay. Then you have topics like primary health, primary education in India, reasons for its backwardness. If we neglect basic things like primary health, basic things like primary education, that's the only reason we are economically, socially backward. This is the right picture of issue-based topic. You see, they can come from any topic. Economy, gender, climate, health, education. These are the typical domains. One more nowadays is becoming very popular, that's AI. Artificial intelligence, and then of course, the nuclear war potential in future. That's it. These are the typical issue-based topics that you will expect in the exam. Is that clear? Any doubts, any questions so far? Yes, no, no, yes? Diplomatic response? Yes. Any question now? No. Okay, these are the typical issue-based topics. Does anybody know any other unique topic that has come? Which I am missing out? No? Social media maybe? Anybody already sleepy? In coma? Deep sleep? These are issue-based topics. Can everybody write 850 to 1200 words on these topics now? Now? Yes, no? No, yes? Either yes or no? No. No, yes. Can we write 850 to 1000 words on these topics? No? Let's write. These are some more. Classroom, education. See, social media is triggering FOMO. Fear of missing out in people. I have FOMO. This we are relating very well to. Permanently I am in FOMO. Ever since I am preparing for UPSC, I am in constant FOMO. In the youth, creating depression and loneliness. Absolutely very valid topic. A society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. All these issue-based topics. Good justice system in which we need less social welfare, which means again indirectly talking about social equality. Now that we have seen all the topics, we have a good sense of about, after so much, I think I have been talking constantly for how long? More than 1 hour, I think. Yes. Did anybody learn anything? Yes. Let me quickly decide, or let me quickly assess how much have we learned. One, what is essay? At least that much we are convinced it's freedom. So now no more fear about data, statistics, right, wrong, nothing of that sort. Second, we know the word limit. Third, we know there are two clear kinds of topics, issue-based, philosophy-based. Philosophy we are yet to see, issue we have seen some of them. We know typically which issue-based topics come. That's one thing we have understood. One more thing we have understood, that although we can write freely, we can express, we can enjoy, but we have to follow a structure, IBC structure. One more thing we have understood, that as of now we cannot write so much. So we need that format. Where is that format? It's coming. Okay. Quickly, let me see anybody saying anything online. After talking for 2 hours, I realized that we are talking, that they are also there. Yes, absolutely. Emotional intelligence, good point. Having said that, okay, let's quickly now see how to then, okay, this we'll see later. First, let's go to structure. How to begin the writing process of which essay? Issue-based. Later, we'll see philosophy. Okay, now. First things first. Now, you know all these issue-based topics are coming from definite areas. First question, even before I start doing rough work or pick up my pen, is to select the right topic. Which is the right topic? Some people believe a topic that's most difficult is the best because then you get more marks. Wrong. Not true. Not at all. Some people feel if I pick up a topic that's common, many people will write, which means again marks will be less. Wrong. Again, very bad misunderstanding it is. It's a myth. That doesn't happen. Third thing, some people feel I should take up a topic which is matching with the subject I have done in my maybe graduation, maybe post-graduation. Is that a good approach? Very good approach. The right way of selecting the best topic is to follow two rules. Okay. One I call F, the other I call A. What is the difference between them? Now, if you see all these issue-based topics, there is a quotient of familiarity sometimes. What if I have done my undergraduation in sociology, psychology, philosophy, maybe geography, maybe history? If there is a topic which talks about any of these, say for example, if I'm a sociology student, there is a topic on gender, patriarchy, caste system, reservation, poverty, urbanization. Hands down, I should take that topic. Please take it. Why? You might feel I am not liking that topic. Recently, I have not studied that. But then here, the beauty of subconscious mind comes in. In your subconscious, there is a lot of knowledge that is existing, which you and it's like the difference between RAM and ROM memory, right? One you can see directly, the other is there, you can't see it directly. Similar is your subconscious brain. That leads to emotional intelligence also. So there are certain pieces of information that I have, but I don't consciously know that I have. Because I have studied them a long time before, but they exist. They are there. I feel maybe I'm not getting it at the moment, but everything is stored and registered here. Well, that's how human brain works. So whenever I choose a topic which has familiarity quotient, it will help. It will help me because it will provide me all that familiarity, all that information, all that background. I will have lots of things to write on. So the first rule of the thumb is to choose a topic which matches your background perfectly. This may not happen in the case of people with a BTech. This may not happen with people who have done microbiology or who've done say chemistry or any hard science subject. It may not happen. But for people who've taken humanities, generally they will find a topic which matches with their previous education. It could be plus 10 plus 2 education. Maybe I was taking up geography or I was taking up philosophy, psychology. Now the topic is matching. Please take it up. Trust me, the brain will help you. You will not realize, but it will. So familiarity is rule number one. Choose a familiar topic. Second thing is, if I do not find a topic that is choosing my subject, if I'm an engineer, if I'm say a biochemist, I don't find any of these topics coming from my academic background. What am I supposed to do? The rule of awareness is the second one that will help you. What is awareness? Just think peacefully, think nicely. Everybody here, everybody, each of us has at least one topic or two topics that always interests us more. Even for that matter, you see newspapers. Some people will really enjoy editorial pages. Some enjoy reading international studies. Some are very good with constitution polity. Some others may like women issues. Some others may like that page on text and context in which science developments come. Some are very keen. Like yesterday, there was a topic on neutrinos. I didn't know much to say because I'm not a science student, so I skipped it. But there are many people who will enjoy that, black hole research or neutrino. All of us have those areas of interest. Generally, what happens, the topics that we like, we read them more, we listen to them more, we see more videos on them. So in the last 6 months, in the last 1 year, whichever topic you feel you have more exposure towards, which you have been exposing yourself more to through social media, or through news or through newspapers or through any format, then kindly pick up that topic. Do not fall for the trap that I'm choosing a topic which is looking very interesting, like maths is the music of reason. Because it's tough, let me pick it up. No, don't do that, because you will not have anything to write. But of course, say for example, in the last few months, I have been reading a lot about India-China relationship, or I have been reading a lot about India's foreign policy. I have been identifying with the topic of say nuclear warfare, or about climate resilient agriculture, and a topic is matching with that in tone, a topic is matching with that in spirit. Please take up that topic. Just go with something that you easily can elaborate upon, not something that you like or dislike. It's just, a lot of people say you should write on something that you like. No, I don't think so. Definitely not. You should write either on the basis of your matching background or on the basis of something about which you have more conscious awareness. This is unconscious awareness. I have a background, but I don't remember. But still I have a background. I will write. This is conscious knowing. Consciously I know that yes, I have read and seen more of this in the last few months. I like in general, I can associate with it more. Please take it up. No matter how bad it looks to you, how boring it looks to you, but it will help you. So one thing is to really pick up your topic very sensibly. Now some people, they just choose one topic, right? Then go to section B, choose another topic and write. Don't do that. Choose both the topics at once. That's very important. When you see the paper, make a choice. Give yourself 10 to 15 minutes. It's absolutely fine. In the first 15 minutes, don't write anything. Just pick up valid topics for yourself. Say, for example, in section A, I have chosen one. Now proceed with section B. Tick it. Choose one. It helps because as you are writing paper A, the section A topic, subconsciously somewhere you're also thinking about the second topic. So a lot of browsing mentally, a lot of brainstorming happens without you deliberately trying. So always first thing is to choose both the topics simultaneously in such a way that I can guarantee that now I will not go back. Now I will not regret. Now I will not cut and move back to another one. That's a very poor strategy. Completely you'll get nervous. All time is going to go. So therefore, first thing is to simultaneous choice of both the topics, either on background basis or on exposure familiarity basis. So as I said, if you have a topic which you've studied in school, college, even optional also, in your UPSC optional, suppose if there is a topic that's matching with that, take it. That is also your background only, because you would have prepared. a lot about your option. If it is matching with it, please go ahead and pick it. That's the best thing to do. Prioritize that topic, please. Okay. Now, after you have selected both the topics, go to the first one. Now is the time to decode the topic thoroughly. Many times at the first look, the topic looks very difficult. It feels that it is talking about something I don't know. But as I read it 2 to 3, 4 times, I start realizing that only the words used here are slightly difficult. The meaning of the topic is very simple. A very good example can be the previous slide, where we were seeing such topics, such as this one. Alternative technologies for a climate resilient India. At the first look, it may look very threatening. It may look overwhelming. What is it talking about? On the second and the third try, as we break the important keywords of the topic. Now, don't waste time in small words like, this is not important. Let's focus on the keywords first. What is alternate? If you just break it keyword by keyword, you know that alternate is something that's additional, secondary, a choice, something that's not normal, something that I choose as a second option. Technology, we all know. So what could be alternate technology? Are we using, what is our mainstream technology today? Coal-based, conventional fuel-based, kerosene, petrol-based. So obviously what is alternate? Something that's not like this, something that's different. That time I will be able to understand that yes, now I'm talking about unconventional sources. I am talking about, then suddenly the idea will come in my mind, okay, in the Hindu, in the newspaper, I've read about solar energy, expansion of that. I've read about how India is trying to privatize now the nuclear sector to achieve more and more gigawatts in nuclear energy. It will come in my mind. So I understand. I'm decoding the keywords slowly. Climate, I all know. A sustained pattern of weather conditions over a period of time. Resilient. What is resilient? Basic English word. Resilient means the elasticity, the capacity to stand something, the capacity to face something, your immunity towards something. So, how can I create a kind of technology that is new, unconventional, green, that will help me fight against climate problems, that will give me immunity, resilience against climate issues, and then automatically few things just start coming in my mind. Solar, hydro, nuclear. That's how we begin decoding our topic. Similarly, as the first one was there, to a lot of people, these words were confusing. They just understood we are talking about women in India. They were not sure. What do we mean by the first part of the topic? Break it down in small words. What is fulfillment? Make a sentence. Okay, I get fulfilled. A fulfillment is to me a good day of study or to help somebody. Fulfillment is a feeling of satisfaction, achieving something. So, have we achieved the new woman? What is new? What is a new woman? Obviously something that is not there right now. Opposite to old, opposite to conventional. We are yet to achieve something. If today women are not in a good position, then new woman would be somebody who is empowered, think of Indira Gandhi, think of sports players like, Sania Mirza or, Jwala Gatta and all these people who've done something that's revolutionary. That lady who came from space, Sunita Williams, absolutely. So, fulfillment of new woman in India, we are talking about country specific, is a myth. It is not true, which means we are still not fulfilled. Now topics become easy for me. Yes, today also women are not empowered. Now I can think of writing something on the topic. So decoding the topic is the most challenging part, and believe me, it takes time. So to begin with, I need to spend good 15 minutes on selecting the topic, decoding the topic. I have personally known and seen successful aspirants who've given first 20-25 minutes only to decode the topic, only to select the topic. It's okay. It's okay. You have time. 3 hours is a long time. There is no time to revise. There is no need to revise either. Okay? Because if you write carefully, there is no much need to revise every line. Nothing of that sort is there. So 3 hours are more than sufficient for you. Give 15 minutes. First thing is I will select the topic, both topics together, not one by one. How will I do? Either my familiarity, optional background, or my exposure awareness. Third thing is I will give sufficient time to decode the topic. Give yourself 15 to 25 minutes, completely okay, not a problem at all. But make sure you've understood the topic very thoroughly. Once you've analyzed the topic thoroughly, now what is this word analyze? We use it all the time, analyze, analyze. What is analyze?
Understanding the topic.
And what kind of understanding do we mean when we say analyze? Sorry, sir? Multidimensional could be one, yes. And apart from that, suppose if There is food in front of me, this much pizza. Is it possible I open my mouth and one full large pizza goes in? No, it can't, right? How I eat piece by piece by piece by piece, and stomach also will not digest like 1 kg food digested. How will it do? Break down, break down, break down. You keep breaking it down until it's reduced to a fiber. Something similar, ma'am, are you feeling hot? Is the AC not working? Okay, I'll talk. Okay, so what happens? Even brain is like that. Suppose if you get a big piece of information, suddenly if you read, no, you can't digest. You get confused. That is the concept of analyzing. Just like your digestion works, gut, similar is the main brain here also. It breaks information fiber to fiber to fiber. Only then you absorbs in your neurotransmitters, in your brain parts. Analyze means break the topic, decompose the topic to the easiest level, and then try to understand. That's called the process of analyzing. And then, of course, you also become multidimensional, because once you know what it means to the simplest detail, like a child, let the inner child live. It's okay. Let it. And understand it. Bring it down. Make it very simple, like equation simplification, topic simplification. Now, many topics you will realize carry a very deep meaning. That is also one reality about UPSC topics. Sometimes things that are looking very unidimensional. I look at a topic, I feel okay. This generally happens in the case of philosophy-based topics. So we will talk about it later. For example, a very famous topic came recently, which said that a ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what it is meant for. So are we supposed to write here about the ship? Parts of the ship. How do we keep it in the harbor? If it sails, high tide or tsunami comes, it will break down. Are we talking technically about the ship? No, we are not. So which means it is not something that it looks like. Okay, it is hiding behind these words. There is a deeper, much deeper, multi-layered meaning that's there behind this topic. So this reality is more true with philosophy topics, that what you see is not true. There is always a hidden picture, and this is true of every philosophy topic. In issue-based, generally it will not happen, but still, analysis and decoding is the very important part here. Now, in certain situations, you will realize that issue-based topics also carry a slightly deeper meaning. Say, for example, 2021 had a topic on women, gender. It says, the reins of the world are in the hands of those who rock the cradle. See, in a very beautiful way, they are writing something very simple. Today, if I ask you, can you simplify it for me? You might just say that it means women can also become leaders. Simple, right? But when you see immediately, then does it look so easy? The reins, what are reins? Control, the command of the world are in the hands of those who rock the cradle. What is a cradle? A cradle is a cot on which a baby sleeps. Yeah? That is what it is. What do you mean by rocking the cradle? Moving the cradle. Tsunami came here also. Rocking the cradle means moving that cot, swinging the baby. So indirectly, what are we trying to say? We are trying to say that a woman who can raise a child can also rule the world. Once you understand the topic, immediately I get a picture of Rani of Jhansi, Lakshmi Bai. She had tied a baby behind her, and then she was fighting the British soldiers. And there you start getting ideas about your story. Whether it's her, whether it's Kittur Chennamma, or whether it's, other people who have fought very bravely during freedom struggle, and many more women who are mothers. Kiran Bedi, when she was posted in Delhi, her daughter was sick and still she was not given the leave. But still she carried on, made so many prison reforms in India. So, all these women, they are mothers, all those who've achieved something in life. So suddenly ideas will start coming you like this, randomly. But you will have to decode the topic. Similarly, 2018 said, past is a permanent dimension of human consciousness and values. Very nice way of saying something very simple. Past is what? What is past? History, of course. Mughal Empire, Mauryan Empire, are they your neighbors right now? Hey Ashoka, not like that. Past is gone, man. It's history. Past is a permanent dimension. Although it is happening something in age-old times, it's a past. But still it lives in your mind permanently. It's a permanent dimension. It's a permanent aspect of what? Human mind, consciousness and values, which means history is important. History not only teaches us our values, history is something that lives in our awareness, in our minds forever. In short, why is history important? Why is history important? Anybody can write on this, come on. We learn from history. We should not commit the same mistakes twice. Indus Valley civilization was urbanized at a time when no other civilization was. Today, as we talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, today as we talk about Smart City Mission, our government is getting inspiration from the town planning and urbanization of Indus Valley. That's the beauty of past, isn't it? Agreed. Today as we talk about agriculture, today as we talk about land measurement, we are taking so many cues from Todarmal, Akbar's land measurement system. We are learning so many values from Ashokan land administration system. Diplomacy. India had foreign diplomacy since the time of Indus Valley with Mesopotamia, with Egyptian civilization. This is nothing new for us, right? So history always teaches you your present values. What not to repeat, what to repeat. Plus it's something that lives in us forever. Today also we are doing excavations. Today also we are finding evidences of prehistoric era. Neolithic times, Paleolithic times, Chalcolithic times. So which means history never dies. That's the topic, simple. But you need to decode. That's very important. So therefore, 15 to 25 minutes only in decoding the topic. Those who decode the topic successfully write very easily. They write very quickly. Okay? Having said that, now I have decoded both the topics. Okay, let's take it one at a time. I've selected both the topics. In my section A, I have decoded my topic. I am ready to write. I am ready to write, but in Vishnu's eyes, I got a format. I am ready to fill that format. Should I start? Before I start, yes, you have to start, but before you start, few things also that I need to know is that I should be able to, one thing is when time is up, let me know, because when I am in full mood, in full swing, I forget. I can continue like this, like a robot, till 5 o'clock also. Even if everyone is sleeping, I'll go on and on. So let me know it's time. Please leave. Okay, so try to define the given topic in your own words. A very important skill in UPSC essay writing and answer writing is to be able to rephrase, to be able to write something that is said by somebody else in your own words. That is something you should try related to the topic. Second, can you remember, can you think about, can you recall any data, any quote, any news, any story, any poem related to this topic? Now is the time to think about that too. Think. Can you connect the issue that you are writing on to a news event that has happened very recently? Say for example, if you were talking about aviation sector and accidents, then there are plenty that are coming in the news right now. There is so much to write about. If you were writing about flash floods, then in India it happens every second day, from Himachal Pradesh to Uttarakhand, even recently in a city of Maharashtra, Pune. Remember, there was a flash flooding happened and it was unbelievable, because usually it wouldn't happen in peninsular India as much, but it is happening now. Sikkim, every year it is happening. These are the topics that you can connect, issues that you can connect with the topic. A very interesting thing would be to think about an emotional story related to the topic that you're writing on. Any self-experience? Sometimes we experience things. It's possible that anybody can be caught up in a mob violence, may have experienced flight turbulence, may have lost a relative to a natural disaster, may have experienced something related to artificial intelligence, they may have seen patriarchy in their own family, they may be very much a victim of public corruption. All of us have these experiences in an everyday life. It's beautiful, it's very good, it's highly encouraged. If you use these experiences in your essay only becomes more interesting. Remember, at the end of the day, the success of a movie or a book is about one thing: whether it entertains. Similarly, the success of an essay depends on how much interest can it create in the reader. They are not looking for detailed information. They have other places to see that. They're looking for engagement. How much can you engage them with your true personality? That's an essay all about. You can then proceed to think about the pros, positive aspects, negative aspects of the essay. You can think about how will you validate, how will you prove your own arguments. Then, if the topic is trying to talk about a problem, in a majority of essays, there is always a problem there. If you can suggest innovative solutions, but not fixed solutions, if you can suggest innovative solutions to the problem, just like you do in ethics case study, your marks will suddenly increase, because all UPSC examiners would want a candidate who know how to solve a problem. Everybody can talk about a problem, but if you have certain unique ways of solving a problem, then your essay will definitely attract better marks. A good example could be climate change. We all know we are doing so much about. We can write about United Nations, we can write about Indian government initiatives, National Green Tribunal, but all that is academic. What if you give some innovative solutions to climate change, like maybe something that is done by a tribal population, maybe something like, you yourself have experimented on your every birthday you are growing a plant, or maybe you are distributing seeds for free, plants for free, you are taking a bicycle or rainwater harvesting, anything, organic vegetable farming, something that you've done at your own level to make a big difference. That is something that is going to definitely get you more and more marks, okay? Now, when we are done by understanding how do issue-based topics look, how do they look and how to decode them, exactly how to select a topic, we actually proceed with the more important part. Points of special remembrance are that what is the structure or what is the format of an essay writing. While there is a similarity in the structure and format of both philosophy essays and issue-based essays, we will start quickly talking about issue-based ones because philosophy is more detailed and it needs more understanding. Talking about issue-based topics, how do you present a topic? What kind of format was I talking about when I started this lecture? Broadly, let's understand that introduction is what you have to start your essay with. But what is an introduction really? What do you do in an introduction? This first part of the essay or intro is common. It is same to both types of essay, philosophy as well as issue-based. It is not different. First, you have to write an intro. But how will you write an intro? If I say that there is a topic which says alternate technology for a climate resilient India, and I say, please write an introduction. Introduction, let's say we are writing an essay of about 1,000 words. Clearly, my body could be between, the body of the essay could be between 550 to 600 words. Clearly, the introduction can be about 250 to 300 words. And then in my conclusion, very less, maybe 50 words, 100 words is more than sufficient for my conclusion. Very, very small. So exactly how do I start structuring my intro? What will you write? Will you define climate change? Will you define alternate technology? How will you start? You have to think a lot. So let's do something in which we do not have to think at all. Okay, then we'll go with the tips of the UPSC toppers. Okay, talking about introduction in a very simple way, introduction can be written like this. This saves your energy, it saves your time, and you don't have to think at all. You just have to keep filling and essay is ready. We'll do this later. Let's begin with this. In an issue-based topic, whatever topic you get, absolutely whatever, from gender to climate to say politics, in the introduction, I will start writing my essay by creating an approach. This is all coming in the part of intro only. H, D, D and T. What I mean by these abbreviations here. Talking about H. H refers to hook. D. D refers to definition. This D refers to data or quote. This T refers to thread. That's it. This is going to be similar in both the essays. There is no difference really, except a little difference here. Okay, so let's look at the issue-based one first. As I start writing my issue-based topic, the first thing that I'm going to start with is a hook. But what is a hook? As I have explained to you a little bit earlier, a hook simply means something that looks like this. Something that is also called in social media language as clickbait. You know that nowadays there are advertisements, they are all clickbaits. They are meant to attract the audience attention. If you click it, one advertisement shall open, but deliberately they are made so interesting. Either they give you very nice offers, discounts, or they relate to your need because it's all personally designed advertisement. So you will have to click it, or generally people choose to just see what is it. So that is called a clickbait, something that you cannot avoid, something that will attract the attention of the reader or the audience beautifully. In my HDDT, the first step is hook, but what is a hook? Now remember, when I say that essay has to be written through an emotional intelligence quotient, as a human who is dealing with another human. There is no robotic, no chat GPT element here. Let me not start writing an essay just like I start writing my GS answer. If in my GS paper 3 geography or ecology, I had this question, climate resilient alternative technologies, then it was a very good thing if I start defining what is alternate technology. It means all the non-conventional sources of energy. And then I would talk about what is climate resilience, what is climate problem, word by word. Okay, that is good, but that is GS. Here we don't want that. So what will I do? The first thing is, let me relate by heart to the topic. Okay, the topic is talking about clean environment, something we need to recreate towards climate mitigation. Now let me quickly think. In the beginning of my intro, in the hook, that do I remember a very interesting story? Do I remember a very emotional episode, an incident? It could be real, it could be fake, it could be your own creation, it could be somebody else's experience, it could be your experience also. News, anything that you've seen in the news? This must be used to attract the reader's attention. Now, all the answers of most of the UPSC toppers will begin by showing you an HDDT technique. Okay, so how do I start writing my hook? Imagine if I am writing my intro on alternate technology and climate resilience, and what if I start talking about a very emotional news piece or a very emotional story related to climate problem? What if I start saying that just like every year in Sikkim, as people were sleeping peacefully in a small village, there was a farmer. You can give him a fake name also, but if I go by the news of the Hindu, then let's say the farmer was named as Raju. That there was a farmer and he was a paddy farmer. For years he had been collecting money to buy a tractor for his fields. Tonight he was very happy because when he checked his his assets, whatever he has collected, he saw that he has been able to collect enough money to finance a new tractor for himself. This could mean better earning for the family, his daughter's marriage, repair of his age-old house. He slept a peaceful man. But nobody knew that this is the last peaceful sleep he's having, because almost nobody in the family ever had another morning. There was such acute flash flooding that happened overnight. There was a cloud burst, like it happens every year in Sikkim, near Gangtok, maybe near the capital city. Entire village area was swept away. Now Raju found himself being woken up by a rescue worker, and when he asked about his family, his house, they said they don't know anything. He was just found floating in the water like many other villagers who survived this tragedy. So today he stands like an orphan man, devoid of money, devoid of family, devoid of his dreams. But he is not alone. And then you can start saying that according to United Nations estimates, or according to Indian government estimates, there are thousands and thousands of such paddy farmers, other farmers in India, in states like Sikkim, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Arunachal, all hilly areas, who, owing to natural disasters like flash floods or cloud bursts, are losing everything that they have, and they are just becoming poor and homeless. Well, if this is not the most painful atrocity of climate change, then what else is? That is called a very emotional story and a right way to start your essay. Something similar could be done at a very simple level also. Suppose if you feel I'm not comfortable with creating these news stories, or I don't remember what I read in the news, just use an experience. You could say something like, each year since 2000 at least, we see that during the summer months across India, the temperatures are becoming so high. They are crossing 45 degrees in most of the Indian cities. Now, for workers, for construction workers, for farmers, they have no respite from this summer. So you can just write a very interesting experience that as you were coming from college, you saw that there was a child of this construction worker who was dizzy, who was fainting because of too much heat, excessive heat, and lack of any fresh water. So that time, it was just a very grim reminder to you that in your childhood days, life was not like that. I mean, we could go out, play in the summers. We had a carefree childhood. But today's children, as they are caught up in the houses, AC, mansions, and they are not allowed the freedom, the outdoors, especially in the afternoons, as we used to have as kids, does it not mean that climate change today, the way it's coming, the way temperatures are increasing and rainfall patterns are changing, does it not mean the childhood of millions of children today is completely threatened? What kind of a childhood are they living? It's a complete claustrophobic childhood. There is no freedom because of climate change. Plus, so many are losing their life. That's, again, a new reality as per the Indian Medical Association in Delhi itself. And it's a true thing. Like last year in 2024, the heat was so acute. This year, luckily, we have monsoon. Last year, that El Nino thing happened. There was poor monsoon. So what happened? There were at least 1,000 children in Delhi who needed emergency healthcare. Why? Because of course they were children of construction workers and they couldn't bear the amount of heat that's there outside. This is climate change. To a common man, it is always more painful as compared to somebody who's sitting in a legislative body. So this is how you start your essay. In fact, if you have a movie story, you can add. If you have a poem in your mind, something you can write, somebody else's poem, use that. Again, as I said, if there's a news, if there's a fiction story you can create, please write that. You could write a farmer's problem, you could write anything related to a construction worker, your own experience, as I said. Anything here is good to go. Okay, so this is how you start writing your story. This is referred to as the hook. Okay, in case I cannot create a story, I cannot write a poem or get somebody else's poem either. In case I cannot remember a news event, is there an alternate? Yes, there is. In that case, instead of writing this emotional aspect, use a data. A data, but the data should be shocking. Something that is creating a very extreme emotion in the reader's mind. Shock, horror, fear, something that you can really use to create a sudden flow of emotion. Like, for example, I can always say that as per the United Nations Secretary General, he said 2 years back that by 2027, the earth will reach such a stage that from there, either we will evolve or there will be no need to evolve because we'll anyway finish. So, he's creating a kind of threat in your mind that climate change is reading a situation where most people will already succumb to it. You never know. Anyway, we are living in a science fiction kind of world. Sometimes that asteroid comes, Earth will break, we will go. Something or the other is always there. What are these fears all about? So even we don't know. Our future is very uncertain today, right? So something like that you can do to create lots of excitement, lots of horror or lots of fear related, of course, to climate change in the mind of the reader. Is that clear? That's how we begin an introduction. This is the H part I have spoken about. The DDT is left. In the intro, the first sub-format that you have to fill is your hook technique. I'll repeat, any interesting story will do wonders, any poem will do wonders, but in case you don't remember absolutely anything, then please create something on your own. In essay, we need to think anyway. You could talk about Bombay flooding. You could talk about the fact that just last month in Bengaluru, where I come from, so many high-rise apartments were using boats to evacuate their citizens. Everywhere there was water, right until the parking lot, cars are floating away, people's Mercedes and all. So this is the price of luxury that you pay. People are buying fancy things like BMW and Mercedes, but then what can you do with these luxuries when nature comes to its fury? Everything becomes garbage, right? Because in case nature is showing travesty like this, then all your Mercedes are floating like pieces of wood. Everything goes for a toss. So ultimately nature has a last laugh. So something like that also you can create. Of course, it can be very personal, experiential, you helping somebody, you seeing some trauma happening in front of you. As I said, fake, real, news, everything acceptable, data acceptable. And in case even data is not there, but luckily you remember a quote. But it has to be a shocking one, it has to be an extreme emotional one, a fear-mongering one. Write that quote. Absolutely, you can write that quote, okay? From any environmentalist, if you're writing about climate, from a feminist, a thinker, a leader, if you're writing about gender, anything will do. Similarly, if my topic was not about climate, say what if it was about the fulfillment of new woman is a myth, women are not empowered, I could have written my hook by making a story of a make-believe. Again, this is a true story only from Delhi, but I will just rephrase that story. Say, for example, I will say that as people were celebrating International Women's Day, the corporate offices were enjoying everywhere with parties, cakes, balloons, celebrating women success stories. Women in tech are becoming a very big buzzword now. People are honoring them. All of that is going on. And here in the morning, a lady called Asha, a young call center worker, but again, it's a true story. I've just changed the name. She boarded a cab to her office in Gurgaon, and all she remembers is that she disclosed the OTP to the cab driver, and after that she has no memory of anything what happened to her. And then she wakes up in a hospital in a semi-conscious state, and she's told that she has experienced sexual molestation, she was injured terribly, and here she is absolutely lying paralyzed. And what a paradox that this is all happening on the occasion of International Women's Day. And then people say that women today are empowered, but that's not true of majority of our women, because we know that majority Indian women, even those who choose to work, are not working in the formal organized sector. Majority of them you'll see either in agriculture sector as landless labor, construction site women, vendoring women, these call center working women. So all these least they are facing threat as they go to their workplace every day, right? So then you can say that Asha, who was the only hope of earning livelihood for a family and for her aging parents, today lies paralyzed. Nobody knows will she ever be able to work. Nobody knows will the family ever be able to be stable again. Well, is that the new woman of India? Because there are so many Ashas like that who are losing their lives, their dignity, their future to such heinous or such disgusting cases of molestation in Indian roads and cities. That's my hook. Is that clear? Relatable? Can we do that?
Yes.
Too much to ask for? No? You need a little bit thinking. It will not happen like magic, but it will happen. It's just about being honest, being creative. It's just about engaging the attention of the reader. See, let's not approach the topic in a very GS-like way. That's bad. For example, writing about new woman in India, if it was a GS paper 2 answer, social justice, then I will not do this. Then I can write like, according to the National Crime Records Bureau, the crime against women is increasing every year. Give a data. Say, what are the causes of you can write about the POSH Act, prevention of sexual harassment in workplace. These are certain causes of crimes. 1, informal sector. 2, lack of transportation. 3, lack of sexual harassment complaints cell in every office. 4, majority of women are not working according to cultural, religious reasons. Early marriage, early pregnancy. Done. That is GS, cause, consequence, scientific approach. But this is not GS, this is essay. So do not just write the topic, relate to the topic in a very emotional way. Now this is known as emotional intelligence. Is that okay? Is it too difficult? Honestly, no? Can you write now? No, yes. Very diplomatic. Everybody is so diplomatic. I hope everybody becomes IFS here. Very diplomatic. Okay. It's completely broken, so 3rd time it happened. Be careful. Okay, so this is exactly what we are talking about. Now something, I'm ending, don't worry. I'm leaving in 1 minute. Enough jnana I have given you for the day. Suppose if I was talking about artificial intelligence, something similar you'll do. Suppose if I was talking about, say, India's foreign policy, something similar we can do. Now you might say, what story will I create for foreign policy? You can. Say, for example, if you're writing about, sir, tomorrow we'll throw this only. It's a pain. Suppose if we write about foreign policy, we can definitely talk about those fishermen, because there is so much dispute regarding the coastal waters, okay? So what happens? Many fishermen, poor fishermen from India and Pakistan, they are languishing in each other's prisons for years altogether. What a waste of life. So that is something that we can talk about. Any make-believe character, because all these are taken from newspaper. Trust me, they are not my relatives. They're not my friends. I'm also getting all these wonderful ideas from newspapers only and only, because that's how they write. That's how the newspapers give you information. Talking about foreign policy, we could talk about that very serious, very painful episode where Indian government had sent some workers to Ukraine. Remember? No, to Russia. During the Russia-Ukraine war. And they were told that you will not be sent. What was that? And they were told that you will not be sent to fight the war. But they had to fight the war. And imagine they were not military. What a pain they must have been through. Plus, you remember those people? Naval officers who were in the jail in Middle East? That is diplomacy. Very interesting story. You could write about that also. How from India so many construction workers go to Qatar and what conditions do they survive there? You know that. Their passport is taken away. Salary is very low. Inhuman working conditions. The world was enjoying FIFA. And so many workers died there. Hungry, thirsty, 50 degrees temperature, zero medical care. So these are certain things we have to bring to light, okay, as we write about the hook technique. Once the hook is done, quickly we proceed with the D and the T. But DT we'll do tomorrow. As of now, you're clear with the hook? Sure? 100%?
Yes.
Pakka? We are understanding?
Yes.
Thank you.